left, right.
Yo, what is up, SipTalk? Thank you for joining us. If you want to watch me get shut down on multiple accounts, proceed on to this episode. Let me know what you think at the end, and I will see you guys at the other end. See ya. This is SipTalk. Grab a drink and enjoy.
Where's this go?
Cheers.
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 Thank you guys for joining us. This is episode 110 of SipTalk. My name is Justin DiGiulio. I'm joined by the political scientist David Boswell above me, if you're watching live, and the philosophant, the accounter, and the referee, and the bartender below me in South Carolina. So David is in Sacramento, California, which is experiencing quite the heat wave. I want to talk. We touched on it the last episode about the heat wave the country's having, but you're in it. It's not hot. It's like a pleasant 72 where I am here in suburban New Jersey. So what's the heat like out there? And then I want to talk about some of the implications that's going on with the rest of the country.
It's pretty warm. Yeah, as James mentioned a moment ago, it's about 108, 109. My apartment, not so great. It's really cheap rent, which is fantastic. But yeah, second story, no tree coverage on the main corner that gets the sun. So we just get baked for a couple hours, and it's currently 95 degrees in my apartment.
You have a thermometer in your apartment. The thermostat.
Yeah.
He's actually wearing like a thermosensitive T-shirt right now.
I could see it. Not out of the ordinary, but
yeah, like in the wintertime, that shirt's blue.
Well, also,
really?
The tape, it all just melted off. It used to be black there. Now it's just the adhesive.
Well, let me ask you guys, because it is warm where you are. What are you guys drinking?
Out here, because it's too darn hot, I'm drinking this really nice little shandy. It's low alcohol, little light, little fruity. Nice.
Sounds a little gay.
It is.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Just sounds a little gay. James, what are you drinking down there?
In celebratory fashion, I am on the Busch Ice and boxed wine train again.
Ooh, very nice.
I was going to make some melon balls, but I didn't feel like choosing lemons, which I know is not actually an ingredient in melon balls, but the melon ball is too sweet of a drink without it.
If the shandy is a gay drink.
Oh yeah, I mean, if kissing dudes makes me gay, then what doesn't?
Yeah, but $20 is $20, and a melon ball is still delicious.
Yep.
All right. Well, to update people on my health, I am the vodka the other day helped nurse me back to health. The vodka's in short supply now, and I'm feeling much.
Was that
better.
all in one night that you did that?
You took its life force. Look, it's only a skeleton.
Well, it was. I don't know how full it was when we started the other.
We'll have to
episode,
check the tape.
But it is. I haven't published the episode yet, so. But it was pretty full when we opened it up. But we went on after the podcast. We kind of hung out for almost a couple of hours. I think
it was about 3 hours after the cast that we kept going.
Yeah. So either way, so I want to talk to you about this heat wave. There's a lot of pushback about the government basically asking people to not use major appliances while you have 4 screens on behind you. I'm sure they're LED energy efficient.
No, it was because there was like
and you're also looking at a screen.
Spotlight coming in. Yeah, I am.
So there's 4 screens behind you, and there's at least one in front.
These are like the really easy ones, though. They don't put off much heat.
They're the easy ones. Okay, they're easy on the environment. So what a lot of people don't know is that the electricity grid in most cases is run by burning fossil fuels in most places in the US. And things get really hot. And when help me kind of contextualize this, how the heat makes the demand on power a higher demand. Obviously, people are running ACs.
So I think
AC is a huge driver of that because air conditioning is just a very energy intensive thing. I noticed this because we have one little air conditioner. I have one in my room. I just never use it because I don't care to, and it's expensive because my energy bill doubles whenever I turn it on during a month. So it takes a lot of energy. You'll notice. I mean, think about when you're driving and in the city you have AC on, how much less pickup you have in a gasoline car.
Nobody
how much
realizes
less
that.
your fuel efficiency is.
No, we realize
Well,
that. Most people don't
we
have any
do.
idea. Yeah, we can feel the engine. I remember
I'm talking to you. I'm speaking to you.
I got a crazy sunburn. I got a crazy sunburn on the beach in Rhode Island, and James refused to turn the AC on because he said we're losing fuel economy. And I'm like, dude, there's bubbles on my body right now.
That checks out.
The AC wouldn't have done anything anyways.
It would have made
you
me
would have felt better.
It would have made me feel better.
I felt better. Also,
man.
hi Maria, and I think so. Justin, when you're talking about the heat and everything, like the heat doesn't really have a huge effect on the efficiency of power plants. It's more that demand spikes really high, and the power plants just aren't able to create enough electricity to meet the demand.
Yeah, but you think it's primarily air conditioner use.
In the summer, yeah.
All right. So here's where I'm going with this, though, is some of the governors are asking people to not use major appliances during the daytime. I had a list. I don't have the list with me, but basically some of the requests they were making, like some towns ask the residents not to water their lawns when there's a water shortage, which is an increasingly occurring thing throughout the U.S., but
especially California,
but new to a lot of people in the U.S.
Remarkably little to do with asking people to tamp down on power, which is where you
but people are really pushing back about how it's not fair that they should be doing that.
Not fair. It's municipal water. Fuck off. It's exactly fair. It's the definition of fair. But it's making sure everyone has water.
But I think what occurred to me is that people fail to remember that they're living on a living rock. The rock that we're living on is alive, and it's constantly changing and moving,
and it's angry,
and it's really angry, and we have an effect on it. We have an effect on its life and its ability to regenerate on its own. So it's and then my brain started to degrade. I was thinking like how humans are such a virus to the earth, etc.
Rock fighting back.
Yeah, you just watched The Matrix again, didn't you?
No, I haven't seen The Matrix in years.
No. You ever spend a weekend in a basement with a radon contamination problem? That's the earth fighting back, rotting your brain.
but I
mean, like Justin does twice a week.
Yeah, I am in the basement. I don't know about the radon. We got radon tests here. I think we're good. But obviously we need to make some changes in how the electrical grid. And we need some major enhancements over the next 100 years with water and water supply.
You know what the short-term solution is? That you guys aren't going to like?
Bottled water.
Demand-based pricing.
Well, that prices a lot of people out of your basic needs like water and electricity.
But it's a solution.
To who? It's not a solution to the people that can't afford it. Excuse me. It's not a very good solution for all. It's a solution for people who have money and people who are responsible. But a lot of people are going to die, I think, if that's the case. I think a lot of people are not going to be able to afford AC, especially old people.
They shouldn't have chosen to be born in Africa. That's on them.
What are you talking about? They don't have AC.
No, but they won't be able to afford it.
They can't afford the AC unit, let alone the electricity to run it.
Who are you talking about? I'm talking
people in Africa.
Oh, I'm talking about people in the U.S.
Well, there's people in the U.S. who can't afford it either. Just less of them.
Yeah, but but we're talking about the U.S. We're probably not going to be making any. Well, we're not probably making any changes in the U.S., but let alone we're not making any changes in Africa. That's for certain. The three of us.
Yeah, I'm not worried about losing viewership in Africa.
Back to energy rationing.
But I want to get back into the energy rationing.
Off track here,
and the people pushing back on it because I get the pushback, like I get the mentality, but I mean it's very short sighted. But ultimately,
I want my power and I want it now. Oh no, it's my power and I want it now. JG want Earth and power songs.
Oh yeah, I have a structured settlement.
So all right, well we're not going anywhere with this. Let me move on to the next thing here.
Can we
You
just
mentioned
make that the motto of the podcast?
it is the model of the podcast. You mentioned Africa, and one of the things on my list today is
Wrong
Juneteenth.
segue.
Is Juneteenth, and be very
It didn't have
diplomatic.
anything to do with Africa.
Well, but it had to
But
do with
tangentially,
tangentially, very tangentially. But I think there's a
not very.
there's a pretty strong line there. But remember to speak diplomatically so you don't make yourself a hated host of the podcast. But what are your
I'm
thoughts
not
on
a host.
the new federal holiday?
It's a good one.
You think it's a good
I
one?
like the idea, but at the same time, I think that this is like a pretty meaningless gesture meant to placate people that need much bigger help than 1 day out of the year where nobody
but
works.
I think you're ignoring that to a lot of people. It is a really big thing. So
Well, I'm
I
not
think
saying it's a bad thing. What I'm saying is that
no,
they
no,
need,
I'm not saying it's bad. But you're saying it's a small thing. I'm saying to a lot of people that this is, I mean, in your words, designed to placate. It's not a small thing. It's actually pretty big.
Well, I mean, it's a
big to
federal
them.
it's a federal holiday.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
big.
so that is obviously a very big thing. It's not really doing anything for anybody outside of recognition, right? There's no.
Well, I mean, what's a holiday for?
But
What
that's
do other
that's what
holidays
James
do?
is saying. That's what James is saying is that it's
Sure, but I mean, we just have Memorial Day. It's the same thing as saying like, well, I think it's. And I guess to his point, yeah, I'm sure there are many veterans who would say a lot of the things that what you guys are doing for Memorial Day is like, I don't feel honored.
yeah, fair enough.
well, Memorial Day is not really
Like-
for veterans, but
What is Memorial Day for?
they're the people that died in the wars.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
They're
Yeah,
not
I
very
understand what you're saying.
lively. They're not.
I'm going to
lively
give you one
opinions.
guess what day we have set aside for the veterans.
Veterans Day. Veterans Day is a paid federal holiday, right?
Yeah, and that's in November.
Okay, so the federal holiday is the equivalent of bank holiday, right? They mean the same thing.
No
I don't
idea.
know. I don't know. I don't work in finance.
Well, I'm curious if banks are going to be closed. Trump made Christmas
Well, it's a
Eve.
Saturday.
Trump made Christmas Eve, and I think he made New Year's Eve a federal holiday. Am I correct on that? Have you guys heard this?
What? Who?
The
No,
Trump,
I don't believe that's true.
okay, James, because James has tuned us out. But James, can you tune in to us for just a second, and can you Google that
Google what?
about Trump making Christmas Eve a holiday?
I have a feeling that you're wrong on this one.
All right, so
And it's a reach.
but
Rex Tober and Toyota thought.
but my first thought with when I hear new holidays proposed is first thing I think of, and I didn't I was half listening to the radio this morning, is how there's like a national popsicle day, right? And then like a national pie day, things like that. Those aren't
Yeah,
real.
but those aren't bank holidays.
Exactly. Those aren't bank holidays. So the fact that this is like a federal bank holiday. So I was asking for the differentiation between the two. of
So
them.
he granted December 24th as a federal holiday, but it's uncertain as to whether or not it was a one-off or a permanent change.
Okay. Okay. So how is that? How is it uncertain with that?
Because it says President Trump issued an executive order declaring Thursday, December 24th, 2020, a federal holiday. So it doesn't say Christmas Eve is a holiday. It says Thursday, December 24th is a holiday. So it's uncertain as to which of the two it is.
So my thought was when I heard this is twofold. One, I'm glad there's some recognition there, but then the kind of slippery slope argument about holidays and over the next 100 years, because I feel like we're in this kind of cancel culture mentality as a society right now. And
What sense?
I mean, no one's arguing with me that we don't have a cancel culture right now.
I will.
That's two.
But if you look at like Chrissy Teigen, for example, a lot of people are being torn down. But the point is that I think
Like
there's-
she apologized and she said, "I was a troll." Full stop.
Yeah.
That's not cancel culture. She was a troll. Her
Yeah,
words.
people. She did shitty things, and people call her out on it. That's not
Yeah.
cancel culture. That's consequences for one's actions.
No, I think that's exactly what cancel culture is.
Is consequences for one's actions. So
Exactly.
that's why you're against it.
Then
but-
I mean that's all right.
But
What do you call the U.S. Justice system? That's cancel culture. Well, I only murdered kids. They're annoying. They're crying on the plane. Well, you're canceling me because I murdered them.
I think you're really taking a very
That's
unpopular
the slippery slope
perspective on this, but it is a slippery
I
slope.
don't care. That's never stopped me.
But my question is, should we look at maybe setting some rules into what can become federal holidays? Because I was thinking mostly
we do,
sure, but we're not
Like-
taking any away.
but the Congress is the one that sets the rules for what are federal holidays.
Sure, but we're
We
the
get
only thing
something
we can
through
do with federal
Congress
holidays.
today in the Senate and Congress that we have that actually passed and not be filibustered or held up. Those are them are the rules, Justin. It passed. It got signed. That's the rule.
All right, but you have a cup with 365 milliliters in it, right? And we're not allowed to take any milliliters of holidays out. We're only allowed to add. Might be tough to add, but there's no removing them. And evaporation, it doesn't occur in this instance.
This is a terrible analogy.
It's the first
Like-
one that I'm looking at. I'm looking at my emptying beer, which is not happening with the holiday.
But then you take a layer of oil and you put it on top of the 365 milliliters because it's a leap year and that will slow down the amount that evaporates because it's oil. What the fuck?
All right.
Yeah,
but
like I don't follow this at all.
all right. My slippery slope doesn't seem to be getting any traction with you. Must be.
Hey, finally something clever.
What's it?
But no, I was happy to hear. I was happy to hear it's a holiday. I guess it's going to be observed this year on Friday, which is tomorrow. And
Are you showing up to work?
I will be at work tomorrow, but I work a lot of holidays. We'll see what the city looks like tomorrow, and I think that'll set the tone for the following Juneteenth. We'll see how that plays out. But it could be cool in the city. There could be like parades and things like that. I don't know.
How many parades do you go to?
No, but I hear them and I see them go by from my office. So
I hear June is your month.
June is my month. What, for parades?
It's Pride Month, right?
Oh yeah, I haven't seen any of that going on. Just people with colored hair here and there, but not
He
That's not-
celebrates
that's
it
not
privately.
not super
It's not
common.
very not very thematic, but moving on.
Moving on. All right, we'll skip over the slippery slope. Here's one for you, David. The Supreme Court allows the Catholic Church to refuse gay adoption or adoption to gay parents or LGBT. You know, basically, it's up to the Catholic
BLT
Church.
community.
It's up to the Catholic Church who they refuse adoption to. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it was 9-0, so that tells you that. I mean, if everyone agreed on it, they have an argument.
Well-
They're saying that it's not enough of compelling government interest to infringe on their expression of religious freedom. I don't know if I.
Hold on. There's more to this case than just the
I didn't
headline.
read much. I didn't read much about
So
it.
the thing about this is that it was a single government official that made this decision, and so the Supreme Court seized on that as kind of it being arbitrary because it was made by one person, and so the controlling rule is that if government has blanket policies that kind of uniformly formally approach, then they're kind of non-discriminatory by nature, and when you have and all groups have to basically comply by them. This was a case where it was one person in government that kind of made this decision. And the Supreme Court looked and said, look, this is not a uniform application of any general policy. So we're throwing it out for those reasons. It's not like when you read the headline, you think the Supreme Court's massively expanding the reach of church to interact with government. But when you actually read the ruling, it's much narrower. Now, what it does is it allows for additional challenges of similar qualities to make it to the Supreme Court, that will probably lead to a greater rule, but the headline doesn't tell the whole story in this particular case.
Yeah, I've been a little bit busy with new work.
You've been busy with life, I
requirements.
guess. You missed some of the headlines, but it's, you know, is it one organization or is it now?
It was one organization in Philadelphia.
Okay, so but another organization could still go ahead and refuse to adopt to a gay couple. I mean, to me, that sounds
where it's not super clear, because this was a narrow ruling because the Supreme Court didn't want to make a broad. There's a ruling from like the early 90s that was authored by Scalia, which I'm referencing, and I don't remember it. I think it's called the Smith Standard, where it's about government policies being non-discriminatory. And when you have a general rule, it's not going to be discriminatory. And so if you have a policy where if the like, so this was a case where Philadelphia would contract with different organizations to kind of foster kids or adopt kids. And so Philadelphia has a citywide need of here's kids that need adoption or fostering. And so they pair with agencies to say, hey, here's our pool of kids. Can you help us find homes? And one of the agencies that Philadelphia contracted with was this Catholic organization. And the Catholic organization wouldn't take applicants that were gay or lesbian. And
but how is it ever legal to make any decisions for anyone based off race or sexuality or gender?
Sexual orientation is not protected in every state the same way.
Okay.
So there are certain states where you can discriminate against somebody based on sexual orientation. Also,
it's not
this
a federal
case,
protected class.
No, and there's considerable fights about that in Congress right now, but that's off topic. I'm like, so
it's not off topic. They're working.
But let James finish.
I'm trying to frame the facts of this case in such that, like, so Philadelphia contracts with this Catholic organization, and the Catholic organization says we're not going to send any foster kids or adoptions to gay parents, and the city of Philadelphia says, well, we don't like that. We think that you're discriminating against gay people, so we're going to cancel our contract with you. And the Catholic organization said, it's part of our religious views to not do this, and you're infringing on our free exercise of religion. So the question is, who gets to discriminate? Does Philadelphia get to discriminate against a religious organization and not contract with them? Or does the religious organization get discriminated against gay and lesbian couples that want to adopt? And that's the challenge.
Okay,
and
so it was a more religious argument than it was. They were basically, Philadelphia had to work with the Christian agency. They couldn't not work with them because of whatever their beliefs happened to be.
Well, I think what the Supreme Court wanted to dodge was the question that you're asking, which is, can a religious organization that discriminates require the government to contract with it if there's a service that the government is looking for private contractors to fill? That's the question that the Supreme Court didn't want to answer and didn't answer. Because in this particular case, the decision to cancel the contract with the Philadelphia Catholic organization was made by a single government employee. And so the Supreme Court says that's kind of an arbitrary decision that we feel is unconstitutional because there wasn't due process. There wasn't kind of bureaucratic or legislative action to be taken. It was just a single person making the decision. So they threw it down that way.
It's a dodge.
It's very much so.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that clears up obviously what you read in the headlines today. But that, I wasn't crazy about what I read in the headlines, and obviously
that's why you got to read deeper.
I didn't get that deep because I've been busy with life too, David.
But if it's a 9-0 decision, you have to imagine that it can't be that controversial on its face.
Yeah, a 9-0 decision is really the only time that you'll have something interesting is if like there's concurring opinions where some justices are like, I would have gone farther.
You see like an outrageous headline. I saw that, but I saw also that it was 9-0. It's like, this sounds like it's probably hyped up. I don't have freaking time to deal with this right now. I get the lack of time, but yeah, that's why I chose not to really engage on this argument because I don't really know that much about it.
Well, I mean, that's the issue with headlines and media outlets now is that, they know people aren't consuming that much.
Exactly.
And
so
that
you have to be
deeply.
you have to be that much more of an informed consumer. I read the headlines and then I saw that it was 9-0. So it's like, oh, this is upsetting. Wait a minute, 9-0. It can't be that bad. I don't have time to deal with this right now. I'll get to it whenever James explains it to me.
Well,
because
that's the thing about being the informed consumer, because what we were talking about when we jumped on is that Rosh sent this video. Apparently, they're proposing a bill to fire Fauci, and what I was saying is that he basically did his job. It's just that other people didn't really do theirs. His job was to say the most exaggerated version of
they're
safety.
Just fucking pissy because they're idiots.
Well,
these are the same people that are talking about Jewish space lasers. The same exact people.
Well, they are the same people talking about Jewish people having.
So I think we can dismiss anything they say with.
Hold on. We can have an honest discussion about whether, like the position that Fauci's in and the job that he's done, separate from the idiotic calls for him to be fired.
Well, the thing to me is just it sounded like a group of people who were just mad that they were forced to wear masks, and that was the issue that I had with when they're giving this press conference. Is it just sounded like mad people, and they weren't creating a great. Basically a great argument to have him fired other than they were unhappy with what he did. But what I was saying is that he shouldn't have done anything. If he was he
didn't do anything.
Exactly.
He didn't do anything.
Exactly. Just
all he did was just like make recommendations and advise and consent on things.
But
he didn't write any laws. He didn't make any executive orders.
And that was the point that I was making, is that he was arguing he should have been like the most extreme version of safety. And then an actual person in government, a politician, should have kind of, been the one to figure out how far we're going to take that, how much we're going to piss people off. And that's what happened. It's just that he was juxtaposed to Trump so very often. And then you have, you have this kind of crazy super Trumpers and the Trump derangement. You have all this.
Did they really juxtapose him that often? I never actually.
There's a great shot.
No, like I never actually saw a video of Fauci tying his shoes like next to Trump, like the Velcro.
There was a great shot where I think Fauci had spoken, and then like immediately afterwards, Trump took the podium, and Trump says something, and Fauci's still in the camera, and Trump says something just completely idiotic, which is out of character for Trump, and Fauci just goes.
I watched that live. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I watched that live. There was a lot of moments where, for me, the best moment was when Trump was talking about sunshine inside the body, and in the same camera frame is like Dr. Birx or something, who's listening to it. Yeah, but I don't know.
To me, that was probably the most amazing moment of all of it, was when Trump seriously considered injecting bleach.
But what the thing about Fauci that I don't like is now he's become celebritized, and
by who?
By the people.
Justin has a point.
I mean, there's no arguing.
There were bobbleheads about Fauci.
And
Justin's correct on this point.
Yeah, there's no bobblehead for any of us. So,
but did he do that, or did other people do that?
But
people did that, but that's not.
He's now playing into it. He's now playing.
Is he?
Yes.
Is he?
Yes, very much so.
Prove it.
Listen to him speak, and listen to the thing is he could stay out of the spotlight. He could just give his recommendations and walk away.
But his job is to be in the spotlight in the role that he occupies.
He is a director of the National Institutes of Health. His job is to be out there.
That's like telling us like the president's job is to not give speeches or like stay out of the spotlight. Just make decisions.
His job is to share the science and not lay in more than he needs to. And what I'm saying is he's going further than he needs to right now, and I think he's enjoying some of the celebrity. And with that comes a lot. Yeah, citation is needed 100%. I wish I could pull something up, but we're live right now. So
Convenient story.
trust me, many people agree with me on this one. Citation
Yeah,
also.
I don't care if I don't care how many people agree with you.
You don't want the
with
people
what's
that agree with
correct.
you on your side.
that may be true. That may be true. But it doesn't. I'm talking to everybody. I'm not just talking to the people that agree with me or disagree with me. You know, I'm not talking to the people that share my point of view.
I don't change my opinions based on who I'm talking to.
I don't.
Or what facts are.
My opinion changes very often as new facts come in and as you learn new facts. So
okay.
All right. So
yeah,
let's start with the first one.
I liked Fauci for a long time, and it was nice seeing him up next to Trump because Trump was spewing this just kind of crazy stuff that didn't make any sense. Like the virus is going to be gone by Easter, and it's just going to disappear. And everybody around him was thinking, and then Fauci gets on. He's like, no, this is actually a very, very dangerous.
Yeah, it was kind of like Trump's version of Bush's mission accomplished banner.
Yeah, very true. All right, I want to pivot a little bit because obviously I don't have the citation I need to have a compelling argument. I apologize for that. Very liberal over there on the left coast, and surprisingly liberal for South Carolina.
Well, I don't belong here.
You're in a pretty liberal city for the most part, as far as South Carolina is concerned. So,
yeah, but
just saying. All right. So, what I want to talk about next is how war is changing. And I don't know. I stumbled across the reason we're talking about some headlines is I stumbled across Drudge Report today, which I check out once every couple of weeks just to see, and I haven't been tuning into the news. Some days I wake up and I listen to the news exclusively.
Can I roll the dice and just see if I've heard the story that you're talking about in Drudge Report from
Hang on,
2 weeks ago?
Let me finish my sentence. I typically wake up and listen to the news. Sometimes I wake up and listen to music when I'm getting bummed out by the news. So I've been listening to, as you guys know, my favorite radio station, EQX, out of Vermont. Alternative rock out of Manchester, Vermont.
Mount Equinox.
And I've been listening to a lot of that, so I haven't been catching the news lately. So I've been a little tuned off. So I hit the Drudge Report and check some of that out, this afternoon. But David, you were going to say what I stumbled across on.
You're talking about warfare. Were you stumbling across the article about the drone that decided to autonomously pursue someone in a kill order?
No, but that's
No?
insane. No. I guess some of that might be more. James and I talked about drones. James, we talked about drones. The cartels were using in Mexico, right, to drop bombs on people.
Maybe. Oh, I was drinking at the time.
Some Mexican cartels that were dropping bombs on people, and I don't know. I thought that was from their perspective, a very good use of the drones. Kind of lousy use of the drones overall, but they were making good use of them. But I learned a new word today, and David, this is right up your alley. It's a technomancer. Have you heard of technomancer before?
Sounds really, really lame. Please.
You
explain. I feel like I'm a technomancer. Do you know what that is? No, explain to me. And to quote Daniel Tosh, and then I'll explain to you what a vagina feels.
Yeah, I like to me, like anybody who's a self-described technomancer, I just have to imagine that they just slay pussy.
An ex Facebook CEO is just got like $450 million in funding to help create these invincible technomancer style soldiers. I think something along those lines.
What's the stupidest thing I've ever heard?
Yeah, James, I'll let you Google technomancer so you can.
I will, but
I don't want you to.
So don't. So you can go, but basically,
I'll sign off if he repeats anything.
It sounded like they're trying to build this kind of invincible, technology enhanced soldier. But
it's a video game that got 4.9 out of 10 from IGN.
Okay. But
maybe not actually technomancers.
Find a definition of technomancer. But what I was talking about is how I don't think that matters so much to have this kind of invincible super soldier, because we're already seeing effects of warfare. Here's something on Fauci, but we're seeing
the
Okay.
Wikipedia article. It's science fiction. This is stupid.
Well, this is all very, very stupid. But if Justin's worried about like invincible soldiers, I'll indulge him. No, the biggest thing with warfare right now is the fact that everything's fucking drones, and that's why I thought you actually had something interesting to bring up, which was the story that I actually brought up, which is for the first time ever they have documented video of a drone that was completely remote, not controlled by a human. It was on autopilot.
It was autonomous.
It continued to pursue someone after they were running away. Like that's fucked.
I don't know. That's pretty metal.
It's really metal because that's the only thing that made the decision, and also other semiconductors. But
I
yeah,
think what we're going to see here is more hacker style warfare.
you saw it with the different ransomware attacks that we're seeing out of Russia, taking down the pipeline, taking out the meat process.
But that's my point, was that this technomancer thing is bullshit, and we're not having as many soldiers on the ground. We're having more governments fuck with other governments.
To be perfectly honest, I have no idea what your technomancer point was.
Yeah, we could have done with that.
Really came out.
You didn't do a very good job Googling, James. That's the issue here.
The Wikipedia article talked about Harry Potter.
Moving on.
Yeah, the Wikipedia article.
I bet it's not so hot in San Diego right now.
It probably isn't.
Probably is.
So look, but hear me out. I want to talk about the future of warfare, because I think we're going to see more virus warfare, more economic warfare, especially when it comes to China manipulating, the world economy. Really,
I think it's going to come down to cyber warfare. I think it's going to be fucking with other people's electric grids and the gas pipelines and just taking out their infrastructure. I think that's
we're seeing that right now.
I think
we are. I think it's really scary. I think setting forest fires in other countries would be terrifying. Look at California. You just have to sneak. You have to fart in the wrong place when you lit a forest fire. Like it's dry out here. It's only June.
California tried to legislate everything.
I got back from San Diego and I get back to downtown after getting out of the lift, and I breathe in. I was like, it already smells like smoke. It already smells like wildfire. I don't want to deal with this. You lose 3 months out of the year to the amount of smoke up here.
But that's my point. I want to talk a little bit more about warfare and you can fuck with the water supply, you can fuck with the electrical grid, you can shut down companies. There was some airlines and some banks were down briefly yesterday.
Southwest.
There was one a couple years ago where they shut down the Atlanta airport for like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, I think I remember that actually very, very vaguely, but I think I remember it. But that's the stuff that I think we're going to see. And I don't think we're going to see so much line them up and shoot them down type of war that people think of when they think of war.
Depends on what part of the world you're in.
My favorite terrorist incident that shut down an infrastructure project was a guy who was in Home Depot who came out of the bathroom and I went into the bathroom and said, "I'm fixing to blow this place up. You better leave." And he got arrested for a bomb threat.
Really?
But yeah, it was just because he said, like, "I'm about to take it and you should leave." And they called the cops. He's like, "Yo, it was the bathroom. I was trying to be nice."
That's what,
and it wasn't an idle threat.
Did you have any weapons on you?
No,
I
but
left
I did
it
have
there.
Just
No,
a
but I did
half
have
digested
Taco.
chalupa.
I did have Taco Bell.
No, but I wanted to talk about the future
No,
warfare
seriously.
because I see. I want to talk a little bit more about the virus. That's why I keep bringing up virus warfare. But obviously, screwing with internet systems and stuff like that, and then that made me start thinking, like, fuck, if they fuck with the internet, like, we could really be, like, really fucked. Like, I'm buying these appliances for the house. Like, imagine they fuck with the internet and, like, I can't make toast.
Yeah, maybe don't buy those things.
Yeah, there's a simple solution here.
There is a simple solution, but I like having kind of newer, the same thing with your TV. Your TV, even the TV that you guys probably have is hooked. It's some type of smart TV. So
Nope.
Okay, I do, but guess what? I also have a shit ton of things downloaded onto a hard drive that can burn to a flash drive that can plug into said TV.
Yes, you
Yes,
do
because I'm smart. Okay, because I'm prepared. So don't make the argument to me. It's not going to land.
Here's one actually going like close to what Justin's talking about. That's actually a legitimate threat. Is like space warfare and space junk. So if countries decide to start like firing missiles at other countries' satellites, that's one where like everybody loses because if you get because the like you could just have enough space junk in orbit that for it to clear naturally by just orbital decay and burning up in the Earth's atmosphere could take decades. And so we could just make it so that it's impossible to fly any satellites in low Earth orbit because they'll, as soon as they get up there, within a day or two, they just get shredded by all the shrapnel that was left behind.
Well, you know who's likely to do that? You know who's likely to do that are the countries that are lesser developed. Like
China already did it.
We did it too.
But I mean, the thing is, like
that was different. That was with an EMP, not with a kinetic energy device that actually created a shit ton of shrapnel. Different.
No, but that's like a major threat. And my thinking is like the mentality of if you want to build the biggest building, you can tear all the other buildings down. Type of mentality. So you have all these other countries that are that much further ahead of you, and they have all this infrastructure already set in space, and you want to bring them back down to your level. You just fuck with all their stuff.
Crabs in the pot.
I don't know what that means.
You've never tried to collect crabs before, and like they're in a bucket, and like one is like about to get out, another crab will actually no, fuck you, grab it and pull it back out.
So I want to do an episode on idioms. So although
we
crabs in a pot,
we were one letter off from having 110 examples.
But I don't know if crabs in a pot would be a true idiom because it actually is what it is.
No, it is an idiom because it represents there's a real world example that's used to explain other things. Colloquial metaphor. Derv knows the reference.
How do you turn a phrase?
How do you what?
That's not the reference I was going for.
I know, but I already had that one talked
about. But question for you guys, and I know you guys are super liberal, but what are your thoughts on the fact that the first city to shut down and really have in China was the same city where they have this lab that studies coronaviruses, and they haven't let anybody in there to investigate.
I'm sure it's nothing.
And Fauci is not interested. Doesn't think it came from there.
He's not. No, that's a misrepresentation of his position.
Okay, but what are your thoughts on this lab?
My thoughts are that it's a very plausible theory and that we need to investigate it further. It makes a lot of sense that a lab that researches novel coronaviruses might have something to do with a novel coronavirus escaping. I don't think it's a big leap there.
Okay.
But it's one where we can't say with certainty any direction. And the fact that it was
but why are we not interested more about
I think we are. The problem is that China is going to make it really difficult for us to get the right answer. I mean, because regardless of what the right answer is, it makes China look bad.
But why do we have MSNBC and CNN just basically shutting it down and saying, yeah, no, they said it didn't. We're good. It came from probably somewhere else.
I think that's a misrepresentation of their views. I think when they say that there's no evidence to support it, you're saying there's evidence to support the negative.
But they shut it down, and then you have people on Fox
News because you have people saying definitively, exactly. Because you have
how do you have two sides that are so far? How are we not having?
Say we don't know. There's a difference between.
But I feel like both of them in their like deep inside, they're thinking like, maybe.
No,
but they're expressing that.
No, stop making an equivalence between a positive statement of a Wuhan virus lab did it versus we can't say that a virus lab in Wuhan did it. That's not equivalent. They're saying a virus lab in Wuhan did not do it. That is the equivalent. But saying we don't know because there's no damn evidence is not the same thing as what Fox is doing.
Yes, but there's
Being
no
uncertain is fine.
but the
Just
we don't know
just don't
side
assume.
has no interest in
No, they just
investigating.
have an interest in being right and
No,
not making
no,
assumptions.
then that's where I'm saying that Justin's misrepresenting, for example, Fauci's position, because Fauci's position is it's a lead that we should investigate, and we are. Do we have any evidence as of today? No, but it's interesting and plausible enough that we should know more about it. And I
In
think
my
that
last
that's
candy.
completely fair.
Fauci,
I don't think
Fauci denies that scientists deliberately suppressed Wuhan lab leak. Okay. And then I'd like to do a little more research as to what he thinks about the lab in Wuhan. But
well, again, I'm telling you that me personally, I think that it makes a lot of sense, but I don't have the evidence to back that up, which is why I'm not going to make any positive claims about it. Is I'd like to know more, but I also know that trying to extract any meaningful information out of China is a fool's errand. Idiom.
Yeah. So, but I just wish that every time I was hearing about this Wuhan lab, it definitely happened in this Wuhan lab, or no, there's nothing there.
Well, you're listening to the wrong people then.
Well, there's not many more people that I can listen to. I think, to me, you get a lab that studies coronaviruses. You got a coronavirus that blew up right around the city of this lab exists. It sounds pretty suspect to me, and that goes hand in hand with this virus warfare.
Look, I completely agree with you. It sounds reasonable, but we don't have the evidence.
If it's virus warfare, then they're pretty shit at it because they hit themselves first. So,
yeah, it's not like if anything, this hurt China as much or more than just about anybody else.
No, I mean they have the discipline to lock down and do that shit. I think they got out a lot
Discipline's that's a really casual phrase for the way that the Chinese government deals with their populace.
Look, you want Chinese government sponsorship or what? Shut your whore mouth.
Yeah, no, we know James is terrified of China already.
I am.
So
I legitimately am terrified of China. I will never go to China.
Oh no. We are not going to do well there. Thailand. No, I've said a couple of shitty things about their king. They have a couple laws about less majesté laws where you can't say anything bad about their rulers or.
And they're really strict about it too.
Oh, they're bad. Yeah. They'll
yeah, you cannot insult the king in Thailand, or you're going to be
at
like,
all.
Yep, you get the overcooked, undercooked treatment.
I mean, I do think there are some merits to the no shit talk, rules. I think they should be a little looser, but I just think there's a lot of shit talk going on. I think you kind of have
You're a fucking idiot.
society based around like not shit talking people. Things get a little better.
No, that's
now if you're going to lock people up for
so wait, hold on a second, because I'm going to point out something, Mr. I hate cancel culture.
Yeah, but my point is, cancel culture is still a lot of shit talking. Like people say shit wrong, and then everybody else wants to pull them down. It's a perpetuance of shit talking.
Derv sees the hypocrisy here.
No, this is the greatest. How do they keep you out of special school? That's the worst.
Like, I don't want people shit talking each other, but at the same time, I hate cancel culture.
I want to jail them.
No one ever said you're gonna jail people. What I'm saying is that's insane.
You want to stop them somehow.
That you can't.
How are you going to stop them, Justin?
I think it should be encouraged not to shit talk. And where does that come from? It comes right from the top.
Are you using the carrot or the stick?
My preschool teacher is
Idiom.
Like one of the last people I remember.
Your preschool teacher? What?
Saying that we shouldn't shit post, effectively translating what you just said.
Shit post?
We should be. You're saying we shouldn't be. Be nice to people. Yeah, no, I remember that.
Well, that's what cancel culture is like.
Yeah, it's the biggest snowflake thing that the GOP has going for it now. Saying, "Oh, cancel culture." Like, no, you're just a shit, and we don't want to support you. No one wants to give you money. I'm being canceled.
No, but
you're just people don't.
it's the actively working to take somebody else down. And I get it that, sure, like taking people down, because they're Bill Cosby's or Harvey Weinstein's, cool. Ripping
They should be
down
canceled.
Confederate statues, cool. But there's always reasons to tear other people down. And
Okay, it's just that you keep
and the fact that
cancel
everything
culture with people having consequences for being shitty. There's a difference. There's not really a difference. I mean, cancel culture is people being criticized for what they're doing. That's not cancel culture. You're just giving it a different name. People.
Here's my biggest argument
consequences for what they do.
against the existence of cancel culture is, if you remember when the story came out about Aziz Ansari's bad date.
Mm-hmm.
Derv, do you remember this?
Yeah, I just didn't give a shit.
Well, the issue is that you heard both sides of the story.
Well, you heard both sides of the story, and everyone's like, we don't understand what the problem is here, and he didn't get canceled. Why? Because he wasn't a shitty person. He didn't do anything shitty. He had, like, everyone's had an awkward bad date, and everyone's like, yeah, this is just an awkward bad date. This isn't him doing something illegal or unsavory. He was just fucking awkward, which is also his brand.
Yes, I agree. But there are some people that in a moment might say something shitty, and they may say it out of hatred. I'm sure that if we rewound a few episodes, you guys might catch yourselves saying something that even in context doesn't sound very good. And for that to bite you in the ass 20 years from now when you're on a job interview, or if you're in a high positioned role, somebody digs this up and they're like, you said this. You're like, yeah, but we were joking around. We were having some drinks. There's a podcast about drinking. Like that was the idea. And then they're like, yeah, but you said this and that's not right.
Right. And then you
lose
give
your
the
job.
Context. But if you give the context,
they're not interested in hearing the context, and the context is.
I don't think that happens very often.
Yeah, because Justin, you're making up this hypothetical where you get to control all the different.
But also, that doesn't ever happen.
It's stupid.
It doesn't happen.
It's just pointless.
I think you're very short-sighted with that statement.
In what sense? You're trying to predict exactly what we're saying. So yeah, someone's going to say, "Oh, well, you're drinking a shandy 20 years later." You're hypothesizing grave consequences. I'm confused.
Look, I've said some really terrible things in the past, and if they were to be brought up to me in a job interview, I wouldn't shy away from them. I'm not going to bring them up. I'm going to be like, listen to what I said in the past. But if it comes up, I'm going to say, look, that was 10, 12 years ago. I'm not proud of it. I've grown since then. And like,
not everybody gets a chance to defend themselves.
Yeah, they do.
You may not even have gotten the job interview. Or you're in a higher position already and the board stumbled across this stuff and they decide when you're not there that you're not part of the company. Without giving you a chance to defend yourself.
Arguing with all these different hypotheticals of things that could be. It's hard to argue against a phantom.
Well, I think what you really need is some citations here.
Well, really quickly, I got to say, Maria, we like you too.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you guys on the Instagram line here. And they on TikTok, they want us to talk about UFOs.
We need to do another cast on that, apparently.
Yeah, I think we do. You want to touch a little bit on the report that just came out? Did you guys catch any of that? I started watching a video of it last night, but it didn't really talk too much about the report.
I haven't really been following the news at all about it. My view on the matter remains largely unchanged.
Well, this is what I heard is that the United States released all these documents about UFOs and admitted they still don't know what they didn't know what they were. The general consensus is they still don't know what the UFOs were, which I think
that's reasonable.
I think, yeah, they're still UFOs. They haven't figured out what they are.
Like, there's all sorts of possible explanations, aliens being one of them, but also at the same time, when you think about it, if you have, let's go with the idea that it is aliens. How does it really make sense that they come here and they fly around in our atmosphere they sample certain things with the oceans or whatever else. Any of the things that you've seen on the videos, that's aliens. How does it make sense that that's the limit of what they've been doing? Wouldn't we have had interactions with them? Why would they?
It depends on when they came here, because if they came around 2012 and saw the reality TV that was being broadcast into the atmosphere at that point in time, I would turn around to these people clearly are intelligent. I'm leaving. Maybe I'll come back in 50 years and take the water.
I guess, but my view
If it
is
were
that
me,
if we assume that some or all of these things are actually aliens, then why haven't they actually had contact with us? Why haven't things happened? I think the lack of action on their part shows me that it's probably not aliens.
Well, here's my thinking on that. Imagine you go to another planet and it's fully aquatic, and you run into an animal like a dolphin, plenty of mental capacity, but you're like, oh, look what they're doing with it. Obviously, they haven't gotten that far. And then some super advanced civilization visits Earth who is capable of visiting us, and we're incapable of even detecting that they're here. They're like, oh, look what they're building. That's cute. Oh, look, they can connect with some electricity. That's kind of cute. And they can communicate. That's cute. But like, look at everything else. So
I think this is worthy of a whole nother conversation, because I mean, it absolutely could be. They could be such a higher intelligence, like again, like Interstellar, where they see in 4 dimensions. They can see time. Can you see time, Justin?
But do we believe time to be the 4th dimension?
Yes.
That's the definition of the 4th dimension.
How many dimensions are there?
It depends on what version of quantum physics or string theory you believe in.
Yeah, basically.
4 is the established norm, but certain versions of string theory require anywhere between 5 and 10 dimensions.
I think that we could definitely touch on that in a UFO podcast. But
get a volume discount.
What do you what are your thoughts that these little black or white specks that you're seeing on these things are, if they're not extraterrestrial vehicles?
Well, the first answer is it's okay to not know.
Okay.
The second answer is it could be one, like quirks with technology, where these, like a lot of these cameras with their sensors are really, really sensitive to small changes. So it could be that they're picking up background noise of some sort and detecting it as something else, and the algorithm just makes it look like it's something that it's not. A third possibility is that they are government experiments, either our own government or other governments, and obviously the governments want to keep those secret, and it's just technology that's out there that is not even remotely public knowledge. So it could be any one of those three or a combination of the three. But when I watched some of these videos about, I don't know, probably a year ago, the Navy released like 3 or 4 videos of stuff.
Yeah.
And I watched a couple people that are way smarter than me going through the videos and explaining what's happening and giving very reasonable answers as to what it could be if it's not aliens.
All right, put your tinfoil hats on. Sounds like we'll be talking about aliens pretty soon. Thank you guys for joining us, and I will see you next time. We'll be talking about idioms on episode 111. Episode 111, considerably better than this one, so I hope you watch it. I will see you soon.
I like PBR. I just got priced out of it.